You know, but you know what's the difference?
But they knew what they were doing.
What's the difference between Hezbollah and Israel? Although I'm not a big fan of Hezbollah. Hezbollah always targets military bases.
That's not true. They've killed civilians.
Yeah, how many?
Not as many as Israel. But they've killed civilians.
They killed 42.
So, but the idea, so the idea they're only targeting military.
And Israel killed 1,000 for 42. That's like a 1 to 20.
But they've also targeted thousands of Hezbollah very precisely with these pages.
And then they killed 1,000 people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just a small taste of the mental gymnastics Piers Morgan deployed to justify and both sides Israel's war crimes. And even when Bassem got him to concede particular points, he still found a way to engage in whataboutism or rationalize Israel's barbaric behavior or...
So, today I have this difficult task to refute these guys.
Deflect and obfuscate, and it was genuinely frustrating, as these Piers Morgan debates always are. But here's the thing, I genuinely do not think that Piers Morgan cares about this issue either way.
Okay, you moron. Let's see the initial clip and see how many errors Bassem Youssef, what's his name, did in 1 minute. Let's count the errors you did.
This was like the kill between the Palestinians.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I remember that.
Now, they go into Lebanon and they're doing the same thing. Look at that. These are the Lebanese...
But they're also destroying Hezbollah.
Yeah, but at what cost? And the thing is, like, if you look at that, remember when I gave you, like, what is the exchange rate?
Yeah.
It seems that the best investment that you can do is Israeli souls because they never depreciate.
Bassem Youssef displays graphs with ratios between Palestinian casualties versus Israeli casualties in Gaza and Lebanese casualties versus Israeli casualties in Lebanon, implying that just because there are far fewer Israelis dying in conflict than their adversaries, that means they are immoral. So what's wrong with this argument? Although the amount of people who died in a conflict might be a reason for investigation whether a war crime was committed, ratios itself have absolutely nothing to do with an army committing a war crime. It just gives credit to how effective is an army in relation to their adversaries in war. A simple example to demonstrate that is the amount of British soldiers and civilians died in World War II comparing to Nazi soldiers and civilians died in World War II. If this argument was true, then the British would have been condemned instead of the Nazis. An even simpler example is a police officer runs in a shootout and he kills 5 criminals, but he survives. What that means, because the ratio is 5 to 0, the evil party is the police officer. An even more simple example, Spider-Man or Rambo. Okay, so Rambo in movies kills, I don't know, 10 million bad guys. Nobody said, wait just a moment. The ratio is 10 million to 0. Therefore, I will leave now the movie. I'm offended. That's a stupid argument. So, ratios have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with morality. You non-idiot.
Israeli souls. Invest in Israeli souls.
Given the
It's an oxymoron, right?
I don't
know if they have
given that Hezbollah's response on October the 8th was to start unleashing rockets at Israel, which they carried on doing all year, at what point did they not expect...
They didn't unleash rockets at Israel. Mehdi Hassan already told you that. They made it in Shabah form, which is...
Hezbollah, from October 8th, unleashed more than 10,000 rockets to Israel, killing about 40 plus people and displacing 150,000 people from their homes, constantly starting fires all over Israel, destroying the skiers' vegetation and trees and all this kind of stuff, and constantly giving Israelis the sense of fear, like in their own sovereign country. The IDF was warning Hezbollah for 11 months before they finally hit. Okay, so. But now the argument of the brilliant scientist Bassem Youssef is because in the first day after October 7th, the first rockets fell in disputed area in Israel. That means that Hezbollah is now off the hook. Okay, so Hezbollah themselves, even the first day, they said, we are doing that for solidarity with Palestinians. So even Hezbollah refutes you, you idiot. Even your stupid argument, which is stupid from the beginning, but even the moronic argument you gave, even that Hezbollah themselves refutes you. You idiot.
Splitting hairs.
What?
You're splitting hairs.
No.
Well, okay, but it's land that Israel's claimed it owns since 1967.
Yeah.
Okay, so they say it's theirs.
You know, but you know what's the difference?
But they knew what they were doing.
What's the difference between Hezbollah and Israel? Although I'm not a big fan of Hezbollah. Hezbollah always targets military bases.
Okay, so Hezbollah throwing rockets that in Israel, dumb rockets, okay, that can fall everywhere for a decade, and because for a propaganda purposes, the last few attacks they did, they targeted military targets. That means that Hezbollah never always targets military target. Yes, and you always. Sorry, guys, I shouldn't do these things. Yeah, right.
That's not true. They've killed civilians.
Yeah, how many?
Not as many as Israel. But they've killed civilians.
They killed 42.
So, but the idea, they're only targeting military.
And Israel killed 1,000. 1,000 for 42. That's like a 1 to 20.
The only thing ratios prove you not idiot is that the Israeli army is more effective. You cannot possibly say that the Israelis have more intent to kill civilians, Palestinian civilians or Lebanese civilians than Hamas and Hezbollah Israelis. You cannot possibly say that. If they had the ability, they would have killed every single Israeli in Israel. We are talking about guys, ISIS type of terrorists. And this guy wants us to believe that Israel, a democratic country, has more intent to kill civilian Palestinians and Lebanese than ISIS Israelis. Really. Because in this conflict, Israel is more effective in war. That is his argument, which is totally stupid.
They've also targeted thousands of Hezbollah very precisely with these pages.
And then they killed 1,000 people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just a small taste of the mental gymnastics Piers Morgan deployed to justify and both sides Israel's war crimes. And even when Bassem got him to concede particular points, he still found a way to engage in whataboutism or rationalize Israel's barbaric behavior or deflect and obfuscate, and it was genuinely frustrating, as these Piers Morgan debates always are. But here's the thing. I genuinely do not think that Piers Morgan cares about this issue either way. He engages in these debates about the supposed complexity of genocide as if it's so complex because he wants to make money, right? Even though he gets humiliated
God damn it.
So, as you saw, Bassem shared those graphs that make it very clear that we're not talking about quote-unquote wars as it relates to Gaza and now Lebanon. Both sides are not equal here.
This guy thinks that war is like the Olympic Games. They should be conducted by equal opponents. What do you mean by equal, first of all? Hamas attacked Israel, and Israel now is eliminating the terrorists. So, that is what equal has to do with anything.
We're talking about a powerful military backed by the United States government disregarding international law and indiscriminately slaughtering innocent civilians. But Piers Morgan suggested that that's all fine because they're taking out militants. So if some collateral damage, as they'd say, happens in the process, well, that's just the cost of war. But it doesn't work that way.
That is exactly how that works, in fact. First of all, Israel doesn't target civilians. That is Hamas, the party you support. Hamas not only targets Israeli civilians for decades now with heinous terrorist attacks, just like the PLO did before before them. They orchestrate and anticipate the death and suffering of their own civilians, using them as a primary military tool against Israel. Although individual Israeli soldiers might do war crimes, it's not a strategy of the IDF to target civilians, unlike Hamas. After 7/10, the type of attack Hamas inflicted on Israel made it necessary for Israel to compromise civilians to get to terrorists. Because now Hamas became an existential threat for the state of Israel. And they are compromising even their own civilians, aka the Hannibal Directive. Okay, so that is the type of war Hamas initiated. So what is the difference? The difference is now the human shields strategy doesn't work anymore after 7/10.
Okay, yes, everyone acknowledges that civilian casualties happen in wars, but it's not that it's happening on accident. Israel is doing this on purpose.
Bullshit. Okay, I think we are done with this idiot. When you have the nerve, you idiot, to stand in front of a camera, you are supporting Hamas, that they are the most notorious group in human history. Okay, targeting civilians. They invented modern day terrorism. The type of Islamic terrorists we see in 9/11 and onwards, the PLO invented that. So we are talking about the group who invented modern type of terrorism targeting civilians. They are using their own civilians as human shields. It's the most notorious group in human history that they are using their own civilians as human shields. And they are using the dead baby strategy. They are using their own children as a military strategy. The mothers of Palestine is the mother that sacrificed more of their children. In elementary schools, they teach children how glorious is to be a martyr. We are talking about the martyr cult. And you are supporting this side and accusing Israel, probably the military that goes in lengths, invented how to warn civilians. They invented the methods, how to warn civilians. They throw leaflets. They throw, how you call this, warning bombs. They invented warning bombs to avoid civilian casualties. Okay, that was happening before 7/10. After 7/10, because of Hamas made this type of heinous attack, now Israel cannot afford to not target terrorists because they are around civilians. especially if that is Hamas' main strategy. Okay, so how fucking dare you, you idiot? You are supporting the most notorious side in human history that is targeting civilians against the most notorious side in human history that tries to protect civilians. You idiot. You radical leftist moron. This, sorry guys, I got very excited. But this is the radical left. They are always the complete opposite side of truth. God damn it. I don't know who is more toxic, Islamists or the radical left. They are both, I don't know, it's to take the one and hit the other. Thank you very much.